Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Writer's Block Podcast. Guys, it's been a tough week. It is Wednesday. We are in almost this within the second to last week of actually March. So, year's going by pretty fast. What have you guys accomplished? What have you achieved? What are you working on? Where are those works in progress? Those manuscripts? Today, I just wanted to do a solo episode because I realized we are in about the third season of the Writer's Block podcast, and I'm doing all this expanding as far as us being on Instagram and making sure that we have a page and next a website maybe. So I'm just adding things as we go, but for now, I was just like, I'm interviewing authors, and I'm gonna have these authors on here featured and make sure that they're promoted. But I just wanted everyone to know also who I was, what I've done, and what made me want to host this platform. Pretty much, it's not like I'm just a random person who decided, oh, I want to do a writer's block podcast, but I wanted you to also know my accomplishments and as well as what I love to write, what I love to read, and just a little bit about me. So I don't know if I really have kind of told you much as far as what I have written. I do have my excuse me, I do also have my personal pages, which is author Robin Chappelle, and on Twitter is author Robin C. But then there is also Right Away Publishing, which is my publishing company that I started in 2022. So I'm a jack of all trades pretty much. I write, I help other authors publish their stuff and publish their books as well. And that's been a great process as well. It's difficult, but I love that I'm pushing through it and I'm learning new things every day. The books I have written are mostly poetry. I love prose poetry. So it's things like Her Crowning Frenzy, A Man's World, and A Man's Fall. They got me started mostly on writing and just making sure that I keep going. So that isn't the only genre that I write, and it's not the only genre that I'm going to write. Actually, the next book that I have coming up has nothing to do with poetry. So, as an author, it's different and it's nerve wracking, and it's just me making sure that I don't mess it up. And I know it's not, bad to switch genres, but it's just a little, it causes anxiety for an author because you're just so used to sticking with this one avenue and knowing what you're good at. And the next thing you're tackling another genre and you're like, are people going to accept this genre like they accepted my poetry? And just to let you guys know, I write more than poetry to the point where I want to even write scripts. I want to write, do some underwriting. I want to do some, maybe some series, write in some series, just any little thing that I can write. And I have a very vivid imagination. So that's the other thing about me. But one thing I do love to do is read. That's what started this entire process. I've been reading since I was little. So it just started into the snowball effect, I believe, because when I was 13, I started poetry. And I knew I wanted to write poetry because I was already reading like Shakespeare, Edgar Allan Poe, and Maya Angelou, and just any poet or any author I could really get my hands on. I remember really, really being inspired though by Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. That was like the first book that made me want to write a story, like write out a full story. So shout out to that book because it's one of my favorites, and it's the one that actually made me go, I can do that. I can do this. I want to do that. I want to make stories, like interesting stories with twists and turns about people. Like that story really got to me. It sent me through different emotions, and that's what I wanted to do for others. So that's what definitely made me start writing. It made me love to read even more. So I can't imagine doing anything else really. I also am getting my degree in psychology. I'm gonna be finished this year, and I have been working on it for a while. I'm not even gonna lie. I know I'm like about to be 35, and I'm just now about to graduate with my bachelor's. But I stuck with it, and I kept taking breaks. Something kept coming up. I've been in school since I was like 18, since you're supposed to go to school. So that's a little tidbit about me. What got in the way was deployment, traumas, depression, the military, different things all mixed in just got in the way. And I just kept saying, I gotta go back to school. I gotta go back to school. So finally one day I stopped saying it and I did it. And it was within the last about 3 or 4 years. So I've been working on it for a while up until this point, and it's about to really come to fruition this year. And I'm beyond nervous, excited. There's so many different feelings about it because I'm like, I want to finish what I started. I know everybody does not need a degree to write. Everybody doesn't need a degree to do most things. But it's just the fact that, it's under my belt and I finished what I started. I said I was going to finish. So I'm going to be doing counseling in psychology as far as for victims of trauma, relationship trauma, any type of PTSD, depression. That is my biggest passion and my biggest field that I really want to just contribute myself to because I've experienced it, I've been through it, and I feel you have to be passionate plus empathetic to really counsel people within that field who are going through what I was going through, especially if it comes to suicide or if it comes to extreme depression. I think I've been in the darkest holes you can imagine. So I'm pretty sure that that's my calling and really what I want to help people with as far as not staying there in that place. So you're gonna see and hear me do a lot of uplifting and motivational things, especially on my personal page. You're gonna always see me giving a positive word or a motivational word or just some tips on how to maintain a positive attitude or how to maintain organization in your life and how to just make sure that you keep your head up and not let certain things just manifest, just sit there and broil over because that's what I used to do. And it really used to get to me and my passions and what I wanted to do. So writing became this great outlet for me to explain and really express a lot of the things that I went through in an artistic way because I was bitter for a while. I was angry and it would have came out the wrong way if I never healed and if I never went to therapy for it. And guess what? I'm still in therapy. I still check on myself. I still regularly and consistently make sure that I keep a check on this up here because this is what's running the show. So if that's not together, then I can't really get much done. And I have to make sure that I stick to the plan because depression can take you to that mode. It can take you into that whole mindset of just being like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? You need to stop. This is dumb. I've been there 50 million, 25 million, billion times. I don't know. That's not a number. But I've been there so many times just saying, why am I and quitting? Why am I doing this? I have to give up. It was the craziest thing I could have done in my life. And I just want to let you guys know whatever you do want to do, whatever you are doing, working on, whether it's a manuscript or whether it's a whole novel, a whole magazine, whatever you put your mind to, please do it. You can do it. If you just keep going towards it, just that's all you need. It's consistency and it's grit. That's it. I love grit, the word grit. It's one of my favorite words. I just feel like if you have that, then you're gonna make it. You have everything because that embodies a lot of different words. Grit is a small word, but it has determination, resilience, strength, everything all just tied up into it. So, guys, I'm like also a pretty quirky person, always upbeat, always making jokes. If you pretty much see me upset, I'm upset. I don't get upset too much. And if I do, I don't hold it for too long, but it's just like a release most of the time. I pretty much get to arguing with silence. I don't really like the back and forth. And I just like making sure that I shine my light for others and that whatever I can do, wherever this mind can manifest and whatever it can create to help others and to help myself, it's gonna be out there. So when I thought about the Writer's Block podcast, I was just like, what can I do that has to do with me being able to talk to people about literature? And I love Black literature. I love Black authors, Black writers. I love Black storytellers because the thing for me, especially with my publishing company, is people coming up and saying, like, I've always wanted to write a book or I have these books I want to write. Oh, what also just irks me is people who have written books or they have books or manuscripts and they just haven't put them out there yet or they haven't done anything with them. And they're amazing stories and they're just like, well, I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to listen to them. Come on, guys. That is why I do this and why I'm here. I'm always digging into people who have a manuscript or they say they write and they're like on the fence about it, especially if it's good. Like I see if you might need to not quit your day job type thing, but for the most part, people don't finish things. Like to have a manuscript that you actually finished, a beginning, a middle, and an end, that's already something. Like, and even if it maybe sucks a little bit, you can always change it, edit it, do something to it, and spruce it up. Either way, you finished a manuscript. You finished a whole story, which is not what a lot of people can say. So that's the first thing I get to say to people is I'm like, you wrote a book, like you finished a whole manuscript. So now all you're doing is talking to the right person to get you where you need to be, which is a published author. That makes sense. You don't write things just for no reason. You're just letting it collect dust for what. So that is one of my biggest pet peeves is when people don't is when they finish something or when they put their all into something, but they're scared to put it out there. Like they're just like on the fence about being amazing. That's what I feel. It's like you're on the fence about, am I good enough for this? And it's like you are. Stop. So I also speak publicly about just uplifting and just resilience and making it through pain and trauma. Writing is a big part of my life. So when I do speak on trauma, when I write about trauma, it has a lot to do with my stories and my relationships and things that have happened to me. And I do speak publicly in front of women. I've spoken in front of soldiers about suicide prevention to make sure that my story affects others enough to not want to go that route. So suicide is also a passionate thing to me. Any type of depression, any type of mental health. So that's what a lot of my books and stories will usually center around. But A Man's World and A Man's Fall, that is a wonderful series that became a fan favorite from her founding frenzy. And it was first A Man's World and had to do with a couple and just, a woman who was dope and decided to be a scientist and create a time machine. She travels to these different dimensions pretty much. I guess you could call it a dimension machine, not a time machine. But she goes to a different dimension where there is a world full of strong, hardworking men that do not know women even exist. Like they don't even know what they are. So when she lands into this world, she runs into this guy and it's just like they connect instantly. He doesn't know what she is, but he's like curious and like, what are you doing here? And she's just like, what's going on? Why don't you have any women here? And it comes into a whole different thing. Y'all have to read it, but it's called A Man's World, and it's followed up with A Man's Fall. And a lot of people really were waiting on that next chapter of it. They were just like, "You're not gonna write anything else about it?" And I'm like, "That's it. I'm done. I think I'm finished with that. So I'm ready to move on to something else." I have so many different books in mind that I'm kind of like working on about 2 manuscripts right now. Don't judge me, but it's just the fact is that it's two different, totally different genres of manuscripts. So I think that's why I'm able to do it because it's like two different mindsets that I have to be in. So the scariest one is the one that is actually more planned out and close to being finished. Whereas the one that I'm having more fun with, that's the one I'm kind of just on the fence about and going back and forth. But it's gonna definitely be great. Um, I think that um, my biggest flaw in writing is not knowing when to end. Like, I can write forever about a story. Like, it can go into a whole movie and then another sequel and then part three and four and five. Like, I don't know when to end it. So it's almost like I kind of maybe long winded a certain scene to where the book is too much on that scene and not moving along. And that's what I'm working on more. I practice. Everybody knows practice makes perfect. So I'm working on just not being too long winded in certain things. So most of my books are going to be like 5 chapters. And five is my lucky number, by the way. So that's why I chose that number. And it's like they're long chapters, but I just want them to be 5 because I also think of people's attention span these days. They don't pay attention for too much longer than about 5 minutes. So I feel my books have to come in with a punch. Like I gotta go ahead and just catch your attention. Like you have to be pulled in on the first sentence for me. I just feel like that's my catch. Like I love erotica. I love writing adult stories. So of course I'm gonna start at the 6. So people are just like, ooh, like that's how I get you. I just pull you in that way. So that's already one interesting fact I hope makes you go buy my book. And it's called Earth Crowding Frenzy, A Man's World and a Man's Fall. I also have a free 30-day workbook to write your book that I created on my website. And it is a entire guide and note taking notebook about just how to even start your book, the thoughts to have before you even begin writing. Who's your audience? Um, what's your genre? What are you writing this for? Who are you writing to? Who are you talking to? Like, I'm just asking questions to make sure that the person who hasn't written anything and they're just constantly saying, I want to write a book, I want to write a book, this is going to awaken you on if you really want to write a book. So it's like that starter, that engine ignition of being like, am I supposed to really be a writer or not? And if you feel you've answered those questions correctly on the first like 1 to 2 pages, then you're there. You can go ahead and keep continuing. And that's when I have the workbook saying, creating your characters, editing, using new words, using a thesaurus. I love thesauruses. But I love words. So that's the other thing about me. I'm big on words and definitions and making sure that they're pronounced the correct way, Pacific and not specific type things. So you'll like hear me correct people a lot. Like I hate just people pronouncing things in crazy ways. But okay, so I think that I have spoken on career and my goals and things so far. Another thing is I've been in the military before. 7 years, Army National Guard, and I deployed in 2010, entire year to create Iraq. And yes, I do get compensation and I have whatever people call PTSD. So all of that and the above. But I'm a functional one. I am not crazy. I don't go just off the wall on people or put people in chokeholds in my sleep. I'm good now. Like I said, I do still go to therapy. I do still check on my mental health and I do still make sure that Robin is okay for everything else to be okay. So that's the biggest part about it. So that led me into my life now. I have 2 children. I have a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. They're both just beautiful, totally opposite, charismatic, very eccentric, creative, bubbly children that I love. And I'm thankful for them and just everything that they are because they're 2 separate pieces of me. One is like the rah rah piece of me and that doesn't care about anything in this world, and the other one is like my innocence before love. He's just got the most beautiful smile, most bubbly personality, just cheerful and happy, and everything's okay with him. That's my son CJ, and then there's Harmony, who's the firecracker. She's just like she has her own personality. You're not gonna tell her what she's gonna do. She's gonna tell you what she wants to do, what she's not gonna do, and we're working on that. Children are children, and I love when people are just like, "It's the parents. The parents need to get these children together." No, she's been this way since birth. She's been growling since birth. She's been just mean since birth. That's just the Harmony Grace. But I love her to death. That's my baby. And yes, I am married as well. I do have a husband, Corey, and we've been together for 5 years, but we've been married for 2 years. But we started as best friends, and now we're married. So, like I said, life is crazy. It led me into this part of my life, and I'm just taking it one day at a time, and just making sure that what I want to do is, genuine, that I'm solid with it. And there's gonna be days that are hard. That you might not see me or that you might not hear from me because it's just me needing a break. And I'm not that person that ever feels I have to explain things to social media. where people are like, okay, guys, I'm going to take a break now because I just need a mental health day. It's I already wish I didn't have to really use social media like that, but I'm never gonna just be that dramatic with y'all and just tell you I'm exiting and goodbye. Like I'll just probably come back with another book or something. So don't worry. But anyway, yeah, it's been 20 minutes of me telling you guys about myself and you getting to know my awesome personality. And I just hope that you stay tuned. And I just want this podcast. I don't know where this podcast is going to go. I really don't. That's the excitement about it. I'm just kind of like, I started it. I wanted to keep on trucking and go into 10 seasons, 15 seasons, 20 seasons. So, I've been just doing little stuff, adding to it, making sure that I just keep it consistent. We are now on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, uh, Pocket Casts, and yeah, I think that's all the platforms so far. So it's about a good 4 or 5, and it's gonna definitely build up to more. I do plan on next doing a website that you'll be able to access all of our podcasts on, and then having maybe some exclusive episodes you can subscribe to. Right now, we do have Instagram. Like I said, it's the Writer's Block podcast on Instagram. We don't have a Twitter or anything like that, but I do plan to make a Facebook. And it's kind of like I'm on the fence about it because I have like 3 Facebook pages. And Facebook is kind of, it's like it's a catch-22. I'm not on it that much. And it's like I make it to where I'm on Instagram a lot. Instagram usually, and Twitter, and sometimes TikTok and Snapchat. But I make it to where when I post on Instagram, I'm able to kind of also send them over to Facebook. So I guess you could say on here, I do my live streams out for Facebook on my StreamYard, and that's how I get to everybody at once. And then there's just the making sure that I put it on my Instagram page to be transferred over there, and also to my website. So it's like I have everything connected to where I don't have to do so much. But I'm feeling like if I make another page, I'm not gonna make it. I have to start outsourcing and letting people help me with social media and marketing and stuff. Because what you see is me, all the content, all of the flyers, and putting the announcements out there right now is all me, like Drake. So um, I'm still getting into the financial things of business, especially with my publishing company. So business funding, financial planning, and all that stuff, it needs to be done. I can't stand it because I can't stand numbers. I'd rather just do what I do, be creative, be able to do all this, and not have to worry about that. And one day that's gonna come. But right now, I have to actually pay attention to it, and it's like day by day, so it's a headache. But positivity, learning experience, it's gonna all pay off one day. That's what you gotta stick with. But anyway, you guys, I'm not gonna hold you for long. As I said, people's attention span is already not that long. We're almost already at 25 minutes, 24 minutes. Okay. But I thank you guys for listening to me and just kind of getting to know me. Next week, we are going to try to have author Monique Fisher on here. And she wrote this book called Where There's Smoke, There's Fire. And I've been into it for this week. So I really am excited and want to really get her on here. And there's another set of authors coming up as well. I'm gonna say, as you can also tell, I don't just interview Black authors. I do highlight them and their stories and their literature, but I do accept all races. I'm not a I'm not a discriminatory person. But as far as the highlighting of Black literature and Black literature being the whole footnote of this podcast, it is because I'm a Black author and I feel like our work isn't out there as much as it needs to be unless we're a celebrity or unless we're like a public figure. You don't really see our books get New York Times best-selling attention. So even when we don't, it's just like I want Black people to always know that their stories matter. And that's what made me begin my publishing company because, it's not that much as people seem to try to make it to publish books most of the time. And that's where Black people kind of get a little scared. They're like, yeah, I wrote this book, but it's like, I know I got to put this money into this. I don't know where to start to even get it published and this and that. And some are like submitting their work to, traditional publishing companies and they're not getting any luck, but they really want to just hold their book in their hands, just have a book that they can sell because they know it's a great book and you just need that boost. So my company is a self-publishing company. It's not traditional. We don't buy your books and do the whole contract marketing thing, but we do help you design your book, market your book, promote your book, get it edited, get it all polished up and tied up in a bow to be able to be contributed to the world. We distribute it worldwide, Amazon, Books a Million, Barnes and Noble, anywhere on a book platform that you get your books, even in your local bookstores, we'll suggest how to get that done and make sure that you can get your books in there as well, because that is your town, which your book should be in your bookstore. That makes sense. It's just a process that goes through with it that's pretty simple, and we'll teach you that too. So it's just so much that I want to put into literature, especially for Black people. So I want you guys to please make sure that you subscribe to my website. I want you to please share the Writer's Block podcast and just share my publishing company page and website and my personal page, because it's like, oh, it's all tying together. I don't want there to be three of me because there's already enough of me anyway, but everything's just going to tie in together. And I'm learning branding. I'm learning just influence and how to put everything out there in this healthy way without running around like a chicken with my head cut off, because I do still have a family and I do still need that time with them. So that's the hard part, but we make it happen. Women especially make it happen. Women, especially heroes. Just wanted to shout us out real quick. It's Women's History Month anyway, so I'm gonna say it. We are the world. We are everything. So whatever I put my mind to, I already know I can do it because I'm a girl. Come on. But you guys, I'm just gonna let you go now. And just thank you for listening. Just wanted to put that out there about myself. And if you also have any questions, or if you want to be featured, if you want to promote your book, or if you just have any questions, suggestions for me about what you would like me to speak about, or the type of authors that you would like me to feature, I'm always open to suggestions, criticism, anything that you have for me. But I just want you guys to keep your head up, know that anything's possible, and that consistency is the key. Y'all have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday at 8.